We started this project in response to the women's marches we saw coming up around the country through one of SAA's listservs, email lists. We found that there were other people thinking the same thing about documenting the marches.
When we saw the emails that someone in Austin would already be doing it, and we were surprised to learn that in fact no one in Austin was doing it yet, so we kind of just fell into the coordinating role. I was in charge of the oral history team on the day of. They had pre-written questions. We were able to ask follow-up questions that we came up with on our own. But the idea was just to get 1 to 5 minute oral histories, asking why did you come out? What are you hoping the march will achieve? Are you planning on getting more involved after this?
So I kind of was in charge of the photo aspect of it. We tried to come up with some guidelines ahead of time to really capture the scope of the march. Capture things like protest signs, diversity in the march, the kind of messages that were being represented, and also some safety guidelines just to make sure everyone sort of stayed safe during the march. Not that we expected anything to go poorly, but to be careful. So our photography team consisted of people from grad students here at the iSchool and also some undergrad photojournalism students at St. Edward's. So it's sort of an interesting inter-university effort.
Yep.
It's good to build some ties with another university in town. So one thing we plan to do is collect some born digital material. Specifically, we're interested in archiving the marches, the Austin March website, Twitter feed, and sort of tweets relating to Austin's march.
For the photos, we actually got together, was it a week after the march?
Mm-hmm.
A week after the march with all our photographers and a photo anthropology professor here at UT, who I had taken a class with, and he helped us select photos to submit to the archive because we had to pare it down quite a bit. And that was really helpful because I think he was able to tell us to select really good looking artistic photos other than just dry documentary photos like we might have selected otherwise. And that was a really interesting meeting. A photo that captures the feeling of the march is as valid a piece of documentation as one that just stands back and captures the scale of the march or something like that. And we can have both.
I think the signs, it's interesting to have physical evidence from the march rather than just audio and just photography, even though those are very important. I think it's a really interesting way for people to come in and sort of engage with this physical piece of the march. And also a lot of times they really sort of encapsulate the different messages of the march. I mean, we have Black Lives Matter signs, we have healthcare concern signs, women's rights. There was a really diverse array of messages in the march, and I think the signs are a good visual representation of that.
I know the Briscoe Center, where we're going to be donating them, is better than a lot of archives about taking physical materials and holding on to them. Some of the concerns are that the signs are not usually printed on very high quality paper. They're likely to decay pretty quickly because they are designed, they're not meant to, when they're made, they're not meant to last 50 years or anything like that. So they are kind of ephemeral in that regard. But thankfully, we're pretty confident that Briscoe will be pretty good about holding on to them. Archives have a lot of power to shape popular memory, and usually materials get donated to archives, 20, 30 years after they're created. And so giving, ideally, the entire public, as wide a public as possible, access to these for their use and for reuse and memory shaping and for their own political purposes going forward is, I think, really important, and not waiting for materials to just trickle into the archive, but actually deciding what we want to have in the archive.
I think that was part of the goal of the coordinated national documentation too, to have things from all over the country, and I think even Canada too is participating.
Internationally, yeah.
Yeah, just to have it all in one place. I think there's going to be an online representation of it too, just so people can see the scope of the marches and just have that saved.
if people want to make an argument, a historical or political argument about the significance of these marches, they won't have to wait 30 years to get access to the materials, and because of the national coordinating effort, there will be a central place that they can compare photos from different marches at Washington and internationally. I think that's probably the most significant. That's, you know, who archivists tend to think we're serving most of the time as researchers. I also think that if people who we spoke to or photographed knew that this was ended up in the going to end up in the archive, which they usually did. We had badges that said volunteer archivist. I think there's a lot of value in them seeing themselves in an archive, because archives have such power. They can say, like, look, this is my involvement. I'm represented in the archive, which hopefully makes archives feel a little less ivory tower-ish.